A nun and a priest were traveling across the desert and realized halfway across that the camel they were using for transportation was about to die. They set up a makeshift camp, hoping someone would come to their rescue, but to no avail. Soon, the camel died. After several days of waiting, they agreed that they were not going to be rescued. They prayed a lot, and they discussed their predicament in great depth. Finally, the priest said to the nun, "You know, sister, I am about to die, and there's always been one thing I've wanted here on earth, to see an undressed woman. Would you mind taking off your clothes so I can look at you?" The nun thought about his request for several seconds and then agreed to take off her clothes. As she was doing so, she remarked, "Well, Father, now that I think about it, I've never seen a man undressed either. Would you mind taking off your clothes too?" With little hesitation, the priest also stripped. Suddenly the nun exclaimed, "Father, what is that little thing hanging between your legs?" The priest patiently answered, "That, my child, is a gift from God. If I put it in you, it creates a new life." "Well," responded the nun, "forget about me. Stick it in the camel." A doctor was having an affair with his nurse. Shortly afterward, she told him she was pregnant. Not wanting his wife to know, he gave the nurse a large amount of money and asked her to go to Italy and have the baby there. "But how will I let you know the baby is born?" she asked. He replied, "Just send me a postcard and write spaghetti on the back. I'll take care of expenses." Not knowing what else to do, the nurse took the money and flew to Italy. 6 months went by, and then one day the doctor's wife called him at the office and explained, "Dear, you received a very strange postcard in the mail, today from Europe, and I don't understand what it means." The doctor said, "Just wait until I get home, and I will explain it to you." Later that evening, the doctor came home, read the postcard, fell to the floor with a heart attack. Paramedics rushed him to the ER. The lead medic stayed back to comfort the wife. He asked what trauma had precipitated the cardiac arrest, so the wife picked up the card and read, "Spaghetti, spaghetti, 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 2 with sausage and meatballs, 2 without." Two priests decided to go to Hawaii on their holidays. They were determined to make this a real vacation by not wearing anything that would identify them as clergy. They packed colorful shirts, shorts, swim trunks and sandals, and each brought sunglasses. The morning after they arrived, they went to the beach wearing swim trunks and t-shirts. They were sitting on beach chairs, enjoying a drink, the sunshine, and the scenery when gorgeous topless woman came walking straight towards them. They tried not to stare, but the temptation was strong. As the woman passed them, she smiled and said, "Good morning, fathers." They were both stunned. How in the world did she know they were priests? So the next day, they went to a store on the island and bought garish Hawaiian shirts. Once again, in their new attire, they settled down in their chairs to enjoy the sunshine. After a little while, the same gorgeous woman, topless again, came walking toward them. Again, she nodded at each of them and said, "Good morning, fathers." One of the priests couldn't stand it any longer and said, "Young lady, we are priests and proud of it, but I have to know, how in the world did you know we are priests, dressed as we are?" She replied, "Father, it's me, Sister Kathleen." Woman comes home and tells her husband, "Remember those headaches I've been having all these years? Well, they're gone." "No more headaches?" The husband asks. "What happened?" His wife replies, "Margie referred me to a hypnotist. He told me to stand in front of a mirror, stare at myself, and repeat, 'I do not have a headache, I do not have a headache, I do not have a headache.' It worked, The headaches are all gone. His wife then says, "You know, you haven't been exactly a ball of fire in the bedroom these last few years. Why don't you go see the hypnotist and see if he can do anything for that?" The husband agrees to try it. Following his appointment, the husband comes home, rips off his clothes, picks up his wife, and carries her into the bedroom. He puts her on the bed and says, "Don't move. I'll be right back." He goes into the bathroom and comes back a few minutes later and jumps into bed and makes passionate love to his wife like never before. His wife says, "Wow, that was wonderful." The husband says, "Don't move. I will be right back." He goes back into the bathroom, comes back, and round two was even better than the first time. The wife sits up and her head is spinning. Her husband again says, "Don't move, I'll be right back." With that, he goes back in the bathroom. This time, his wife quietly follows him, and there in the bathroom, she sees him standing at the mirror and saying, "She's not my wife. She's not my wife." Three couples marry and stay at the same hotel for their honeymoons, where they are taken care of by Dave the bellboy. The first man married a nurse. Dave thinks to himself, "Nurses are known to be hot to trot." The second man married a telephone operator. Dave thinks to himself, "Telephone operators have beautiful voices." The third man married a school teacher. Dave thinks to himself, "Poor guy, teachers are frigid." The next morning, Dave reports to work and gets a room service call from the nurse's husband. He sourly says, "Don't ever marry a nurse. All I heard last night was, 'You're not sanitary, you're not sanitary.'" Then, the telephone operator's husband calls and sourly says, "Don't ever marry a telephone operator. All I heard last night was, 'Your 3 minutes are up, your 3 minutes are up.'" Later that afternoon, the teacher's husband calls and happily says, "When you marry, be sure to marry a school teacher. All I heard last night was, 'We are going to do this over and over until we get right.'" Subscribe to the channel. This is important. It will help me continue my work.